So I'll go right to the point. Andre Drummond are gonna part ways with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now it's not official, and according to Shams and Woj, the Raptors and Cavs are. I'll talk about the trades later. Are engaged in after talks on potential Andre Drummond trades. He doesn't have it, but I think Woj has it. Let me just check. But yeah, so Woj, Cleveland is starting to gouge the market on Drummond. So I think they're not willing to play him anymore. Yeah, will no longer be active for games. Cleveland sitting two-time All-Star Andre Drummond as a transition for Jared Allen. I'll also talk about that later. And so Andre Drummond will no longer be playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers as they work to trade the two-time All-Star prior to the March 25th trade deadline. So like I said, this is according to Shams and Woj, the most reliable just NBA guys on Twitter. And so Andre Drummond is on the market. Now, so far on the market, it's going to be really interesting how much they're willing to pay, someone's willing to give for them, because he still is on a $27 million deal and he is expiring, though he will be very useful to a contending team. Now, Drummond was drafted, just giving a backstory of Drummond. He was drafted in 2012, the 6th pick by the Detroit Pistons, and in 8 seasons in Detroit, he averaged 14 points, 14 rebounds, 1.5 blocks. There, in his time in Detroit, he was a 2-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA third team, but he just didn't lead to any wins. And I think he made the playoffs for like 3 or 2 times. He did not get one playoff win. Then he was flipped to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Brandon Knight, John Henson, and a 2nd-round pick. All-Star, 2-time All-Star, All-NBA, traded for a 2nd-round pick. Yeah, so that's how low Andre Drummond's value was. And it's just mainly because his game does not fit in the modern NBA. He can't shoot, he can't guard the perimeter, and yes, he's an elite rebounder, he is pretty good around the rim, but he just isn't what a modern NBA team wants, being able to stretch the floor, kind of being able to guard the perimeter. Now, it was the reason why the Pistons wanted to trade him was because they thought Drummond was going to decline his $27 million player option. However, when he got traded to the Cavs, he actually accepted it. So basically, the Pistons wanted some value for Drummond, and a 2nd-round pick is better than nothing, at least. But then, so in his time in Cleveland, right now it's been 2 years, he averaged 17 points, 13 rebounds, 1.3 blocks. Now, those stats look amazing, but that there just wasn't any winning at all. But then they traded in the James Harden trade. They acquired Jared Allen. He's like 23 years old, and it's just gonna be better than whatever Andre Drummond will be right now because he's so young. So there's no need for Drummond. Now, like it says, they want the transition period all the way to Jared Allen, and there's no reason to play Andre Drummond and Jared Allen at the same time. I think they were playing Jared Allen at the 4, but it's just better for Jared Allen's development to be a center, of course. Now, some suitors are, I guess, the Boston Celtics. They, of course, need a big man. Now, they have had the trade exception to match the $27 million contract, though I think they're at the hard cap at $22 million. I'm not exactly sure about that one. And then his rebounding, his just offensive rebounding, his shot blocking, and defensive presence should help them a lot. Now, I'm not exactly sure why would the Cavs do it, because yes, they get the trade exception, but that's just going to expire. And Drummond's also going to expire. Though, I mean, just to get off his deal, I guess, but it's going to expire either way. Now, I'm not sure if the Celtics are willing to give any picks for an expiring deal, but because they're, I think, 500 right now, 13-13, they've been pretty trash recently. I think they're 1-4 since in the last 5 games. They've been really struggling, and I think Drummond can definitely be a win now move. I'm pretty sure they can re-sign him to like a Clint Capella deal to like $15 million. Now, I like the fit, I guess, in Boston. They're probably I don't know what they do with Tristan Thompson and Daniel Tice now, and Robert Williams. Now you have 4 centers on the roster. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, a lineup of Kemba, who has been struggling. Hopefully Marcus Smart can return back. Then you got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Drummond. That looks very good with Peyton Pritchard, Daniel Tice, Robert Williams, Grant Williams, Carson Edwards, and Tristan Thompson off the bench. That definitely is more improved. I'm not exactly sure if they have to give up potentially like a Daniel Tice in this deal. I don't think you can trade anyone in the trade exception. So that's going to be interesting. And then for the one that Shams said, he said that they're in deep talks right now in the Toronto Raptors. I don't know how I feel about this one because they do have Chris Boucher, but they really want to fill in the role of what Serge Ibaka and Marcus Gasol did, being a defensive big. And yes, he can't stretch the floor, but at least he's going to rebound, which they really need. Now, I'm not sure how the salaries are going to work. They might have to give up, like, Norman Powell. They probably don't want to give up Chris Boucher. I'm not exactly sure. Let me check their salary cap right now. Okay, so this is going to the 2000. Okay, let's put it. Let's put it right now. So right now they have update. So they have Pascal at 33 million. Okay, so Pascal at 30 million, Kyle Lowry at 30 million, Freddie at 21 million, Norman Powell at 10 million. So I think they're gonna have to trade Norman Powell, Aaron Baines at 17 million, and then they might have some cap space. I'm not exactly sure. They want to keep OG, of course. Maybe throw in Patrick McCaw. That's about 21 million right there. I don't really think they can do this, and they still have these dead caps. I'm not exactly sure the Raptors can do a salary move, but just thinking about him on the team, I think that would definitely be a lot better because Drummond is still one heck of a player, and his rebounding is just around the paint presence. And I do think he would be a good pickup for the Raptors, but I don't see how the salaries can work. Then for the Nets, for the Nets wanting Drummond, I think that would be, I mean, the Nets want any defensive guy who's good, and I think Drummond can definitely be that. Now, I don't think they can get him anymore because they can probably now trade him rather than waive him. So that means the only way I think the Nets can get Drummond is if they waive Drummond. So I don't think that's going to happen anymore with like the Raptors and Celtics and serious talks right now. So I don't really know if the Nets can do it. But if they can get him, that would be amazing. If he is waived, they can give him the most money from the Spencer Dinwiddie the money stuff, and he would be an amazing fit, of course. Now, talking about it as a Laker fan right now, I would rather have him see him traded because if he gets waived, he's going to the Nets, no doubt, and that would be so scary on Drummond on the Nets. Oh, that would be so scary. But yeah, so that's going to be my initial reaction to the Andre Drummond trade. So right now I have my suitors as the Celtics, Raptors, and Nets. Comment down below what you think. Who are some suitors? Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Oh, just saying, this was unscripted, so I'm just talking off the top of my head. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and I'll see you on next time.